cars. They are not putting in their weight to carry the team. There's a drama with why is Tillemans captaining De Bruyne for the Belgian national team. He's a bit younger. De Bruyne is like more experienced and older. So and there's off-field drama too with Doku leaving the camp to go be with his wife and getting criticized by some people. It just doesn't bode well for them.
Okay, the high bags are out, and as you can see, for us now watching this World Cup, with 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
I mean, it's part of the job. It's football. It's as much as it deprives us of our sleep. It's football.
It's football, and this is Beyond 90, another edition. And right now, we've seen big nations crying. We've seen small nations celebrating. We've seen the mathematicians already out who's going to qualify as a third place. You know, we've seen different maths going on, statistics. We've seen the fun side. We've seen the vibes. The FIFA World Cup is gradually living up to its billing.
Yes,
so what has been your eye moment so far?
I mean, we can't speak about this World Cup without giving a shout out to the Africans, Cape Verde. They've been really, really impressive with how they've gone about their...
So officially, we're like, they're the giant killers. Should we say that?
Not necessarily giant killers, because they haven't killed any giant yet. But
are you sure?
They've been, I mean, a draw versus Spain and a draw versus...
That's giant killing.
Versus Uruguay. So they haven't defeated anybody yet, but they are doing their best to survive in a group where nobody expected them to, and you have to give them a special shout out. It was a brilliant defensive performance versus Spain for the 0-0 draw. It was a very good attacking performance for the 2-2 draw versus Uruguay as well. So you have to give them a special shout out.
Well, if you are not sure about Cape Verde being the giant killers, at least we are sure about Belgium fumbling their...
It's very worrisome because there's now a whole lot of drama, you know, with them. They remind me of France 2010, where they had a really bad campaign at the World Cup because they had a lot of drama around them, you know. There's on-pitch drama with De Bruyne not really clicking, maybe because he's getting too old. Lukaku looks heavier. The youngsters, Charles de Catalare, Alexis Salamakas, they are not putting in their weight to carry the team. There's a drama with why is Tillemans captaining De Bruyne for the Belgian national team. He's a bit younger. De Bruyne is like more experienced and older. So and there's off-field drama too with Doku leaving the camp to go be with his wife and getting criticized by some people. It just doesn't bode well for them.
Okay, so let's break it down one by one. Yeah, I think Belgium underperforming is not something that's just happening now. We've seen it over the past decade or so, even starting from the time Martinez was there. They had their golden generation, but I don't know what has been wrong with this Belgian national team. They should have won something. It's like, should I say they lost their generations, you know?
I think
this crop of players.
Yeah, you're right. I think the highest thing they achieved was third place in 2018 World Cup, which is no bad feat, you know. It's a good achievement as well, finishing third in the World Cup. But you just feel like with the kind of talent that they had, they should have, and those people that we call the talents now are older players now. You know, we are not saying Hazard is retired. You know, Fellaini is retired. Thomas Vermaelen and company all retired. Alderweireld and De Bruyne is nearing his retirement. Lukaku, same thing. Like it's not Lukaku that we used to know before. So it feels like a wasted opportunity for them to have gotten, even if it was at least a Nations League. Just something to you know,
to mark that,
to stamp their authority on their golden area, but they missed that chance, and therefore they have to wait for another one.
Well, the question now is football the be-all and end-all of everything? We've seen this case of Jeremy Doku. Some people are saying, why would they go and be at the birth of his first son? But there are things that are more important than football, you know, in life. You know, there are moments that you don't want to miss. Is Jeremy Doku a bad person for leaving the national team to go and attend to the birth of his first son?
First of all, I think it's ridiculous how much it has garnered, how much, you know, conversations this whole thing has garnered. I don't think first time I saw the news, I really didn't think it was that deep. Okay, he's having a child and he's going to be there. He's going to leave and come back in like 3-4 days time. So it's not really a big deal. But it's garnered. There was a reporter, I think a French reporter that, you know, criticized him and says that she was saying that, oh, he's living, World Cup is a once in a lifetime opportunity for most players. I don't agree with that. It's like a 4 or 5 time. If you're a good player, it's a 4 or 5 time in a life, 4 or 5 time in a lifetime competition. But this she really went in on Jeremy Doku, criticizing him, saying he's just going there to watch his wife's umbilical cord being cut.
That was below the belt.
Rightly so.
Although the caveat is she has apologized.
Yeah, rightly so. She was fired and she apologized for it, and rightly so. I think there are some, like you said, there are some things that are more important than football. Our family is one of them. The values of family, the core family, should come over any game whatsoever, and that's what football is. A sport, it's a game. You have to put your family in priority. And knowing Jeremy Doku, from what we see on Instagram and on his social media, he's very in tune with his faith, his religion, and family. So I wasn't surprised that he chose to do that, and he missed a game for Belgium. I think the drama has just been overblown, and it didn't help with the fact that a South Korean player, I think the South Korean goalkeeper, also had his child being born at the same time, and then he watched the whole thing through FaceTime at the same period, Jeremy Doku. So that kind of like added fuel to the fire of the whole thing. But I think every player would not. Every player, if they had to choose, would choose being there where their child is born.
Yeah. So there are more things important than football. I think we need to take it cool. It's an important moment in his life, and I really don't think God beating about it is worth it. So let's go straight into the groups. We've seen so far. We're almost going to the third round.
Yeah.
From Group A to L. And let's see those that have performed well and those that have underperformed. And we'll start with Group A, where your favorite is South Africa. So Mexico, Korea, Czech Republic, South Africa, and how are your brothers doing?
They should go back to their household, my brother. Go back.
I think for Group A, I think we've been right on point with our predictions. Looking at Mexico, Korea, we're looking at them qualifying from that. But the last match of South Africa, I think, is against Korea.
It's against South Korea, and I think every African will be South Korean that day.
Why?
I have my South Korean attire ready.
No, they are not xenophobic attacks in the FIFA World Cup.
I have my South Korean attire ready to support. But yeah, banter aside, South Africa are really, really. We've said this before. They are really, really poor team.
Is there any hope for them against Korea?
No, they're just bad. They're poor team. They're just a poor team. That's all. They are not up to the level required for a tournament like the World Cup. First game, Mexico outclassed them. Second game against Czech, they were physically dominated. They were lucky to get a penalty and obviously converted their penalty in the dying embers. And Czech Republic had the chances to bury the game. They just didn't take their chances. South Korea, and people don't know this about Asian teams, but they play to a very high technical level. They keep the ball well, move it around well. We saw that when South Korea defeated Czech Republic, 2-1. In the first round of the game. So I think there will be no match for South Korea, and South Korea have a certain Song Heung-min who's yet to score and wants to make his mark on the World Cup, and that might be the perfect opportunity for him to do so.
So great. Group A on points. We'll go to Group B straight, where we have Canada, Switzerland, we have Bosnia
and
Qatar. I think Canada is they've outperformed my expectations.
Yeah. I mean, they're the host nation. You would expect that they would, put in a lot of
that second match was.
Yeah, you expect they would put in a lot of energy and a lot of resilience into their performances. Quality-wise, they might not be the shiniest, but in terms of application or what the coach wants them to do, and their coach also, Jesse Marsch, is not somebody to mess around with. He's coached. I don't know if it's Leipzig or Salzburg. I think it's Salzburg. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he also coached Leeds in the Premier League. So he's no minnow when it comes to these coaching jobs. And he's drilled his playing pattern into the Canadian national team. I see they play with very high intensity. They get at their opponents. They press high. And they have decent goal scorers too in Kyle Larin, who's doing well for them. And also their talisman, the left back, Alphonso Davies. So I'm not surprised that they're doing well. Like I said, they're the host nation. Qatar surprised everybody, getting that draw against Switzerland, but which I thought that Switzerland missed and literally just handed it to them because they had chances to wrap up the game and they were just very unserious. Switzerland learned from their mistakes, won the next game against Bosnia. So,
but I think I'm kind of I'm disappointed in Bosnia. I expected much more from that team. Looking at the caliber of players there, looking at the experience they have in that team.
I mean,
and just come and I think they just bamboozled.
I wasn't surprised now, was I? I think they defeated Denmark to qualify. The playoffs was them versus Denmark, and they defeated Denmark. I think it was via a penalty shootout or something like that too, or maybe extra time to qualify for the World Cup. And this isn't the Bosnia that had, you know, Miralem Pjanic of Juventus and Sead Kolasinac when he was at Arsenal because fouls, and even Edin Dzeko, who is their talisman, is just there to complete the numbers. It's 39 going on 40. He's not Edin Dzeko.
But Kolasinac is still in the team.
I mean, Kolasinac himself is not Kolasinac of back then. So it's kind of similar with Belgium, where the players are aging. They are not at the peak of their powers, and the younger ones coming through are not as talented as you would expect them to be. They have Samidovic too, who we expect more from, but it's not doing well. So my expectations for them coming to this number was really low. I expect them to scrape third and see maybe they can qualify as one of the best eight, the third place team, the best third place team.
Okay. So from there, we'll go straight to Group C. I think it's a group living up to its expectations. We expected Brazil to win that group easily. We expected Morocco to, you know, just breeze through that group. And I think those two are topping the group presently. They're not disappointing. Scotland just, you know,
by third. And,
by third, yeah. We all expected Haiti to be the whooping boys.
Yeah. Haiti were always good. For all the likes of Cape Verde, Curacao, who've managed to get a result. Haiti have been a bit disappointing coming from that note because they do not seem to have invested as much as they should in their football in terms of maybe getting the right coaches, getting the right facilities.
Were you expecting so much from? Let's be frank.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they've been involved in football for quite a while. You know, it's not like they are relatively new with the likes of Curacao, where we're just hearing of, or the likes of Cape Verde, who's like their first time in the World Cup, or Panama, or Constantine. I remember we played Haiti Nigeria played Haiti in 2013 FIFA Confederations Cup, and we beat them 6-1 in that game. You know, I remember Namdo Joamadi scoring a hat-trick and the rest of that. So it's like since then you would think that okay, they're used to this tournament. I know the Confederations Cup is not the World Cup, but they're used to this FIFA tournament. You would expect that what we are saying for the likes of, you know, Cape Verde and Curacao and the rest of them, they're just putting in the fight, putting in the energy. You would expect that we're supposed to see that from Haiti, but they've been disappointed, and I'm not surprised that they are. And as for Brazil, they're always going to scale through. Morocco has done themselves proud. They're really good team.
But Brazil gave us a scare from that first game.
Yeah, with the. I mean, it's always good to get those poor performances out of the way early on in tournaments rather than later on when you're playing the semi-finals and finals. You know, they weren't good at all against Morocco, and then they were lucky to get a draw in moment of individual brilliance from Vinicius. But the next game against Haiti kind of picked up. I know Haiti is still Haiti, no quality, but he kind of picked up. And then Morocco too have been doing extremely well. You know, defeating Scotland by one goal to nil.
We need to speak about Boadi.
Yeah, and then
I think it's been a revelation. It's been a revelation that Moroccan team.
Ayoub Boadi is just class. I mean, I've known about him since his days at Lille in France, and he's been scouted by most of the top clubs in Europe. You know, Arsenal, City.
There's scramble for his signature right now.
There's a serious scramble, and he's just 18 years old, so he has the world at his feet. His playing profile is where he's tall, he's lanky, he's quick with the ball at his feet, he uses his brain well, he protects the ball where he can thread a pass, you know, and he's very press resistant as well. So he has the qualities to make a very, very fine midfielder in the coming years. We'll see how he develops and where he signs.
Okay, so we'll group to straight to Group D.
Yeah,
the United States. Doing well.
The main hosts. Yeah, I mean they've.
But let me put it out. I think this group has given us one of the shockers. The way Australia has performed.
Yeah.
Never expected.
Yeah.
Turkey out. Not expected.
So you would agree with what I'm saying now about Haiti, because Australia, yes, they've been in World Cups, but you could tell that there are teams that they know that they have to, even if they're not going to go far, they have to leave a mark. They have to remember for something. I also expected that of Haiti, but away from Haiti, USA have done really well. Folarin Balogun has been their.
He's on fire.
Yeah, he's been their talisman.
Balogun is on fire, man.
He's been their
talisman.
Fire. And we have to give props to Mauricio Pochettino as well with what he's been able to achieve with this squad, finishing, you know, top of the group. At the moment, it looks like they're going to finish top of the group, you know, and the way he's managed to play the second game without their talisman. Christian Pulisic was out, you know, but they still managed to scrape past the.
Isn't it something that Balogun is one of the So that's highest goal scorers now. Something.
Yeah, he's in and around. He's got like 3 goals in the
Yeah, like
tournament,
3
and
goals,
he's doing really really well. I want to touch on the incident that happened in the game between Turkey and Paraguay. I know Paraguay ended up winning that game 1-0, but Miguel Almiron was sent off for a red card for covering his mouth while speaking. And
It's one of the new rules that FIFA has just introduced.
Yes, exactly, saying that you can't cover your mouth while speaking, regardless of whatever you're saying to the person. And I think I think mostly when new rules are brought into football, it is initially implemented in tournaments like the World Cup, the Euros, and then when it's deemed to be successful, it comes into like league tournaments. I just want to say, going into the tournament, going into the Premier League next season, we are going to see a lot of red cards because
I think it's just be initially. When those new rules happen, it's just initially.
Yeah, it is.
The players will adapt.
It is so instinctive for players to talk to each other doing this. It's become part and parcel of them. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, to be honest.
They will unparcel it.
We'll see. Turkey have been really disappointing. I had them
very disappointing.
I had them tying with. I think they've been the most disappointing so far. I had them going head to head with the USA for top spot, and they've absolutely disappointed me. And for the quality of players that they have, Adagule, the Real Madrid attacking midfielder, Yilmaz, Yildiz, Kenan Yildiz from Juventus, Mary Demiral. It's like Akan Çalhanoğlu. It's like they are literally very good players.
Very good players.
It's been absolutely terrible, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
So we go straight to Group A. Germany doing the wonders, just sweeping everybody off their feet.
I mean, yeah, Germany.
And Cote d'Ivoire not disappointing too.
Yeah. Germany doing Germany things. Another disappointing country
Ecuador
has been Ecuador. Yeah, I expected more with the kind of players that they have. Ena Valencia, who's renowned in Europe as a very good striker. They have Moises Caicedo, Pacho, Piero Incapié. So there are no minnows. I expected that they would do better than they're doing so far. But yeah, it is what it is. They lost to Ivory Coast, who've done really well. Yan Diamonde has been a revolution as well for the Ivorians coming into this tournament. But Germany will always be Germany. Even the game against Ivory Coast, where it felt like Ivory Coast were putting them under pressure. When big teams step up, they step up. Dennis Undav came, scored a brace, and won the game for Germany. So yeah, they are one of the favorites going into this competition. I don't see them winning, but I think they will go far.
So I think one of the important persons for Cote d'Ivoire, Franck Kessie, I think he's the captain.
Yeah.
That midfield battle has been holding together for Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, he has, and we've been seeing signs of this since the AFCON. That they won. They unfortunately defeated Nigeria in the final. The AFCON they won 2 years ago. He's very experienced. He's played at top clubs. He's played at Barca, AC Milan. So he's no newbie to the big occasion and the big stage, and the World Cup is where he would relish. And he's been doing well. He's been the leader in midfield. He's been orchestrating their play, protecting the defense, and just leading the pack into the challenges to come. So he's been really good.
Great. So we'll go straight to Group F. Netherlands. Is Sweden underperforming?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because Sweden are not as good as Netherlands. So it's not a surprise that Netherlands defeated Sweden. The surprise is the manner of the defeat. The 5-1 defeat is more or less a rout. It was quite embarrassing. But I think they'll be fine, Sweden. I think they'll be fine. I think they have enough firepower in their attack and in their midfield to survive. The Netherlands have done really, really well. They've been fantastic so far. Crescencio Somerville has been a standout player. He's been really, really good alongside Cody Gakpo too, and their whole attack, they seem to have clicked. Ronald Koeman seems to have found a way to make the whole team click and understand the type of
more
football.
of a team than individual football.
Yeah. So the goals have been spread around. Everybody has their moment. Brian Bobby scored 2 goals the other day. Memphis Depay doesn't even start for them, and he used to be their talisman in attack. So it's a team that's gelled together and it has a lot of cohesion. And I think they will do.
Maybe Brian Bobby is just doing what all Bobbies do.
Fair enough. I'll take that.
He'll take that. He's just doing what all Bobbies do. That's what Bobby does. Yeah. But I think another team that has done well going under the radar is Japan. They've more of like surprised me, and to me they're coming as a underdog people never expected.
Yeah,
much.
so what I'll say about Japan is I think people sleep on Japan a lot. they they are extremely. I think Japan. I'll go ahead and say that Japan has one of the most technical setup of football in the world.
And they play beautiful football.
Very technical. Their players are highly technical. One touch, two touch. They move the ball around quickly. They are very fast. They have a footballing brain. Their players are not static. They don't move in one. They don't stay in one position. They move from left to right. No player. So it's hard for you to pinpoint and say, "Oh, I'm going to be marking this player." They're in this World Cup without who everybody thinks is their talisman, Karu Mitoma of Brighton. It's not even the World Cup, and they're performing this well. So I wasn't surprised. Last World Cup they defeated Germany as well. You know, so every World Cup they come to, they try and make a statement. And I think they are like 2 or 3 more tournaments from winning it. I genuinely think so. That's how highly I rate the Japanese.
That was a bold statement.
Yeah, I think there are 2 or 3 more tournaments.
Very bold.
If they continue at this trajectory, they're not far from winning it.
Okay, so from the highs of Japan to the lows of Tunisia. Earlier this tournament, they broke the record. First time that a team is going to sack their coach before the end of the World Cup. And they brought in Haverina, but Haverina does not reunited the team. He has not reunited the team.
I mean, Renard is just a manager. He's not a magician. It takes a lot of work to.
They brought him as a magician.
Well, he's not. They should have brought him Merlin or somebody. I don't know. But it takes a lot of work to fix whatever is wrong with that Tunisian national team.
And they were the first. I think they were the first African team out of the World Cup.
Yeah. So the problem is, when the problem of a team, when the issues affecting a team goes beyond the starting level and goes deep into the federation or the fiber of the team, it becomes a difficult and impossible task for the manager. Haverina will probably manage just 2 games and leave. You know, so it becomes a really difficult task for the manager to handle. They do not have a style of play. Haverina has come in, and I could see the difference. He tried to implement, you know, his style of play against Japan, but it wasn't going to work without how many days of training. It's unfair to expect that he would come there and perform a miracle. Japan has been building their team for years to come now. They've used the same manager 2018 World Cup, 2022 World Cup, and 2026 World Cup. It's the same manager they've used, so they understand what the manager wants. They understand the style of play. Haverina is like 2-3 days into the job, so I wasn't expecting anything. I think it's an unenviable task for him to go and take for the Tunisian job, and I'm not surprised. I think he just sees out the final game with a bit of dignity, maybe get a draw, maybe a win, and then bow out with his head held high.
How high? How high can that head be held? Okay, straight up we go to Group G, where we have our very own Egypt doing us proud. That's the only group that has an African topic.
Yeah, so far, yes.
So,
yes, you're right. So this is important for Egypt because this
they had their first win in the World Cup. In the history of the World Cup, the first win for Egypt.
Yeah. It's important for Egypt because they needed to make that statement. They've been such a powerhouse in African football for a long while. The days of, you know, Mohamed Abu Trika, Mido, and all those, you know, Egyptian legends, but they never got to do it at the world stage. So it's quite monumental for them that they got their first win of the World Cup against was it against Iraq, or who did they play against? I can't remember now.
That should be Iran.
Yeah, against Iran. Yes, sorry. Yeah, against Iran. So and it was quite monumental for them to get that win going and get that momentum going. And brilliant performance from Mohamed Salah as well. You know, scoring a goal, delivering an assist as well. It was quite impressive because he was coming off a poor season at Liverpool, where he had just, you know, announced his departure. He didn't quite live up to the usual Mohamed Salah standards. So people had thought and people had wondered, are we going to see Mohamed Salah of 2 seasons ago or this last season at the World Cup? But he's showing up to be Egypt's talisman. Omar Mamouche has not done so badly as well. The problem with that group is how terrible Belgium have been. Okay,
so just before we get into Belgium, I think let's discuss Egypt a bit. So which is more important? There was a particular period in time where Egypt were winning AFCON back to back. Which is more important to Egypt? The period of their dominance in AFCON, or now that they're getting to the World Cups?
I mean, I think if you ask any Egyptian fan, they will take trophies over just an appearance in a competition. You know, AFCON is, if you ask somebody in 30 years' time who won the AFCON in 2006, 2008, and 2010, they will tell you, oh, it was Egypt. but nobody will necessarily. If Egypt fail to qualify from this group, or maybe lose at the first round of the knockouts, it's easily forgettable.
Or
So
if
it's
Egypt
still
get to the semi-finals and they do, if they had the run of Morocco that Morocco had last time, I think they will be national champions.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, it's been an unbelievable achievement, but I don't think any Egyptian would want to swap that with a number of. There is nothing as beautiful as seeing either your football club or your country create a dynasty in terms of football, where you know that for a period of time you are dominating and you're the one to be feared. You know, it's not just that they won an AFCON and they won it back to back to back to back.
So would you say for someone like Salah is his period with the national team has been a failure? He has not won the AFCON. It came at the period of when they've lost that momentum.
So Salah did not meet Egypt's golden generation, if I can use that word. He didn't. He came after that, and he did his best to try and push, but it wasn't to be. I mean, I remember they got to a final where Cameroon defeated them 2-1. Vincent Abubakar scoring the winner in their final. So I don't want to necessarily call him a failure because he's done his bit. He's pushed his team as far as he could, but I think his priority will just be getting Egypt as far as he can get them to for this World Cup and see where it takes them.
Okay, so for an outsider, would you consider Salah the greatest Egyptian national team player ever?
It's a tricky question because I feel like an outsider that watches football and loves football would probably say Salah, but I think the Egyptians will go Abu Trika just for the joy that he's brought to them, winning those back-to-back AFCONs and being the best player. And Abu Trika never took his football to outside the shores of Africa. He never took it to Europe. He played in Egypt and stuck with Al Ahly throughout his career. That's why he's probably not well known in Europe, but he is something of a legend. So it depends. I probably not being Egyptian would say it's Mohamed Salah, but I don't think any Egyptian would agree with me. I think they will say it's Mohamed Abu Trika.
Okay, so let's go to the disappointments of the group. Belgium, far down in third. What's going on with the Belgian national team?
I came into this tournament expecting a lot from them.
They should be topping that group.
Yeah, I came there expecting a lot for them, and they can still go far. But like I have said earlier, it's the problems they have are on and off the pitch, and the fiber of the team seems to be some drama because why is Yuri Tillemans a captain over Kevin De Bruyne? Doesn't make sense. There was the Doku issue that I don't want to talk about again. We have there's just when you watch them play.
Is it a coaching issue?
I think so. I think the coaching is part of it. The coaching isn't top tier. So I think it's part of the problem because they are coming to this thing. As much as we like to say, their golden generation is not necessarily here anymore, they still have some really good players. Amadou Onana and Tillemans are both Europa League champions with Aston Villa. Trossard is a Premier League champion with Arsenal. Jeremy Doku is still Jeremy Doku, one of the best wingers we have in the Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne, yes, is a bit older, but he still has the ability to create this magic. But it just feels like the cohesion. They try to initiate Salamakers, Charles de Catalera and all those players into the team, but the blending and the cohesion is just not there. I remember the first game against Egypt, they started with Catalera, they took him off. He was poor, they took him off, they brought in Lukaku. Lukaku came and scored a goal, but still didn't perform to his usual standard. So maybe it's a coaching thing. It's just really worrisome.
Okay, so let's go straight to Group H, where we have one of the favorites, Spain, Uruguay, Cape Verde, and Saudi Arabia. That's where we have the giant killer. I call them the giant killer, Cape Verde. I think they've done wonderfully well.
The giant survivors.
Yes, they've done wonderfully well. No, I think for one, we expected Spain to have 9 points from that team, from that group. They started against Cape Verde. I think they learned their lesson, and their talisman Yamal is back.
Yeah. So I think as much as I'm not going to get anything from Cape Verde and Bosnia because it was an absolutely amazing performance. I think to an extent the Spanish coach Luis de la Fuente experimented because he could afford to experiment. Like I said, it's good to get those poor results out of the way at the beginning of the tournament. So it was a lot of experiment, playing Gavi as the left winger, playing Ferran Torres as a touchline right winger, Oyarzabal in the middle where there was nobody to do it, where all he could get was area crosses. Area crosses that is not even really good at. They played with 3 controllers and Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, and Pedri.
Don't you think what he was trying to do was to use that Guardiola template of 4-6-0, play midfielders throughout and
yeah, but then Oyarzabal spent
overwhelm them.
Yeah, but then Oyarzabal spent most of the time in the box, so it wasn't like he was even dropping deep to create overloads in midfield and then build up from there. So it was. I think De La Fuente learned from that game against Cape Verde, and then you could see that he corrected those things against the next game they played against Saudi Arabia, was it? Yeah, Saudi Arabia, where he brought back Yamal to play as a winger, took for Alex Baena, played him on the left wing, who is more creative, stuck with Oyarzabal, but now Oyarzabal now had creators around him, not necessarily controllers and touchline people. He had proper creators in Baena and Yamal. He played the first game with a midfield 3 of Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, and Pedri, who we all said were 3 controllers, but he swapped out Fabian Ruiz and brought in Dani Olmo into the attacking midfield, and there was more creativity, and you can see in the 4-0 win they had against Saudi Arabia that Spain were back to a level that we associate them with.
Okay, so for Cape Verde, we spoke about their defensive resilience against Spain. What about the 2-2 draw? They are not that bad going forward.
Yeah, they are in, and you have to give them. They've shown different facets of their game. They've shown that if it's a low block, bring it. We're here for you. If you want to go band for band, bring it. We're here for. I would say that I was more impressed with their draw against Uruguay than their draw against Spain, being that Spain could have easily been seen by people, by the world of football, as a one-off. Okay, you just got that day, but then to go ahead and repeat it against a powerhouse, because Uruguay are also World Cup winners, so they are no minnows, and they do well at World Cup tournament. They always get to quarterfinals and at times round of 16. But to go and replicate that in a different, in a different way of playing.
It's
not necessarily, yes, in a different circumstance of the game, not necessarily packing the bus, going out band for band, going out attacking and managing to score 2 goals was absolutely impressive. So we have to give them their props for how they've performed and how they represented the African continent. Like we said, some of us that really, really follow the AFCON, we understand that Cape Verde are not necessarily minnows in the AFCON. They got to the quarterfinals, and the last one were knocked out by Cameroon year before Nigeria knocked Cameroon out. So it's a good showing for them. I'm really, really proud of what they've achieved so far.
Okay, so we'll go to the next group where we have 2 footballers practically fighting for best goal scorer. So France, Norway, Senegal, Iraq.
Yeah.
I think what's going on with Mbappe and Haaland? They don't just want to let it.
He's banned for banned, though. He's banned for banned.
So it's like a competition between Haaland and Mbappe now. Who go chop and first? It's just our guy Messi today.
Yeah, don't forget that there's a certain Messi, and somebody says, you know how when you watch films and you watch a film that's so good and you can't wait for the sequel, and then the sequel comes out and the sequel is even better than. Remember when you watch Avengers, the first Avengers, and the end game comes out and the end game was better? I feel like 2018 between Messi and Mbappe was Avengers, but now we're about to watch Endgame because the way it is now, Haaland is now like a new character that's been introduced into the film, right? But we still have the 2 people, Messi and Mbappe, going at loggerheads band for band for the Golden Boot and for the World Cup, basically. So yeah, France will always be France. I mean, they are World Cup powerhouses. 2018 they won it. 2022 they go to the final. So of course they were gonna be in and around the quarter semis in this tournament too as well. And you can see Mbappe is on the mission. Most of the goals he scored are just crazy
worldies
in situations where. And it's not just what in situations where it's tight for France. Yeah. And it feels like, the opponent is beginning to come in and just comes up with a moment of magic. And that's what the talisman does. Haaland, on the other hand, Haaland gives me this vibe of, I'm happy to be here, man. I just want to, because obviously
enjoy my game.
Nobody comes into the tournament expecting Norway to win.
Exactly.
It's their first ever World Cup tournament, I think. So nobody comes in there expecting them to go and dominate or get to the semis or get to the final or whatever it is. But Haaland is just happy to be there and do his thing and score goals. I remember after they defeated Senegal last night, there was an interview where he was talking to a reporter, and the reporter was like, next game against France, next game against France, what are your thoughts? Do you think Norway can go ahead? And I was like, I don't care. We've qualified. Even if they beat us, we've qualified. They can go ahead and beat us if they want. I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. You know, you can tell from the celebrations. I see Odegaard hitting the drums.
I think they've given us the best vibe. The Viking dance and the drums.
It's they're just.
Norway is just giving us the vibe back to back. I think that Viking dance is going to be the highlight of this World Cup.
It's
the way they celebrate.
It's a good addition, and I hope to see more of them. As much as we'll see, as long as Odegaard and Haaland are in that team with the likes of Oscar Bob and Antonio Nusa and the new generations coming, I think we'll see more and more of them.
But don't you think I'm a little bit disappointed with Senegal? I think at least a point.
I see what you mean, but they've been thrown into a baptism of fire. They are lucky that they are not out yet, but they've been thrown into a baptism of fire. From your first World Cup game being against France,
you've done it before.
And that was 2002.
Giant killers.
Yeah, they've done it in 2002.
The Cape Verde of 2002.
But your first World Cup game against France is no mean feat. And then Norway are also a very, as much as we don't see them as favorites, they have at least two world-class players, and Odegaard and Haaland, who can create something out of nothing. So maybe they could have gotten a draw from that game, but you wouldn't be too surprised that they lost to a team that has Haaland and Odegaard in it. You know, so I think that what they have to do is just focus on the game against Iraq, focus on beating Iraq properly. And it's not like, even the game against France, it's not like France went there and pummeled them 5-0 or 6-0. They were competitive in that game. They got back into the game 2-1, and then Mbappe produced the moment of magic.
Mbappe did the Mbappe thing.
Yeah, Mbappe did Mbappe things. And yesterday, Haaland did Haaland things. So they're just lucky to come against two of the best strikers in the world.
Okay, so beautiful. So we'll go straight to Group J, where we have Oga Messi showing his yoga. I think at this point in time, at least for this World Cup, so far, there's no debate about who is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So somebody is showing and somebody is not.
So what I would say about Argentina, as good as they've been, is that there's always controversies surrounding their games in terms of refereeing decisions that always go in their favor, and it's a dent. I don't want to call it a dent, but it raises question marks whenever they win. You know, the game against Austria that we saw should have been a red card as well for Lautaro for an elbow to somebody's head, and the referee totally ignored it. You know, and there's this feeling like FIFA is just, and I get it, football is business. You want the big names to be in the tournament as much as for as long as possible to sell tickets.
But that's getting too obvious.
Yeah, but it gets to a point where you begin to say, "Come on, man," because I saw the game against Austria and Lautaro should have been sent off. You know, Enzo Fernandez committed fouls upon fouls, and the referee kept on overlooking it. And it's like, Argentina don't need this. They are good enough as a team. They don't necessarily need you to come and start protecting them as a ref. If they are world champions, they are good enough as a team. So that's always their stay. But as for Messi, I mean, what can you say? He's one of the greatest players of all time. You know, he's one of the best players football has ever seen, and he's just out there. Like I said, Avengers Endgame. We'll see how he ends with him and Kylian Mbappe.
So great. In Group K, we have the other GOAT. Not doing goated things. Yet. Okay, so we have Colombia, Congo DR, Portugal. What do you think so far?
I think, like I said, what I was saying earlier, if you want to get those poor games out of your system, it's good to do it at the beginning of the tournament. Get everything out and focus on, you know, finding your rhythm, finding your flow as a team, and working your way up through the group stages and into the knockout phase. Portugal haven't had the greatest of starts. There's been a lot of controversy, you know, Ronaldo fans going to João Neves' Instagram, insulting him, going to his girlfriend's Instagram to insulting her, you know, and João Neves coming up with that statement saying Ronaldo is just another ordinary player like the rest of us, and that didn't go down well with the rest of the Portuguese team. So it's I'm sure that they must have called a meeting, they must have trashed most of these things through, because knowing Ronaldo, as passionate as he is for football, he's also very passionate when it comes to his country. You know, he will put his blood on the line for Portugal. He's that loyal. So if push comes to shove, I'm sure that all of them will put their differences / egos aside and focus on, you know, doing what's best for Portugal, be it whether Ronaldo starting or Ronaldo being on the bench or whatever it is. But I think the game against Uzbekistan will tell us will tell us much more about what to expect from Portugal.
But don't you think one of the things the Portuguese coach Martinez should look at is I think there should be less concentration on Ronaldo. I just think let the game flow, let the team play.
On the contrary,
I don't know.
On the contrary, I don't even think there's enough concentration on Ronaldo.
There is.
I disagree because I feel like there's a sect that have been saying, oh, Ronaldo should probably go to the bench and be a team player. Goncalo Ramos is not better than Ronaldo. The backup striker for Portugal is not better than Ronaldo. Ronaldo is coming off a 35 goal and assist season for Al-Nassr in the Saudi Arabian League. I was scoring the likes of the Mexico striker Quinones and Quinones was a golden boot scorer. My bad. I scored the likes of Ivan Toney, Benzema, and the rest. Ivan Toney is in the English World Cup squad. So,
but sometimes you need to put into consideration. It's not just about being good. Is he fitting into what they want to achieve tactically? Is he delivering at more? I know you see there are some players like Ronaldo, whether they deliver or not, you just want to play them because the magic can happen anytime. But I still think sometimes if something is not working, sometimes you tweak it.
I think this was the same mistake that Fernando Santos, the coach for Portugal in 2022, made, where there was a lot of pressure on him saying, "Oh, he's old, bench him," and all that. And he succumbed to that pressure and bench, and they faced Morocco and they got knocked out against Morocco. That's Portugal. So it's the same mistake. Ronaldo is a player that can make something happen out of nothing. He maybe alongside Bruno are the only two players in attack that can do that. You don't bench players like that. With his goal record, we're talking about the player with the highest goals in the history of football. You don't bench a player like that in the World Cup. You just do not. As long as he's fit. And people talk about him like, oh, he's washed. Like I said, he's coming off a 35 goal and assist season. So we're not talking about someone that's maybe just finished his old age. He managed to play 15 games and score just 5 goals. No, 35 goals and assists in Saudi Arabia. So he's not like he's any slouch. Or yes, he might not be the Ronaldo of 20 when it was in 2016, 2017. He might not be that Ronaldo. Well and given, but give him a chance, he will score. And that's what he's asking for. He has fine-tuned this game to be a penalty box striker. Feed me and I'll score. So if you watch a game like the game we saw against Congo, if it's a game where we felt, oh, Ronaldo had 3 chances and he missed those 3 chances, we can be like, oh my God, Ronaldo go chop bench, you don't need this chance. That's his work. He's a striker. He's giving chances. He's not converting those chances. But in a situation where he only managed to get 1/2 chance in the whole game created by Conceição, the team is not doing enough to provide for him. If you play it, and that's why I've always been of the opinion that Felix should always be playing around him, because nobody understands him as much as João Felix, because they're both teammates at Al-Nassr. Felix should always be playing whenever he's playing, and I hope that their next game against Uzbekistan, Roberto Martinez takes the cue and does that.
Okay, so we'll go to the last group L, England.
Three Lions, our favorites.
That's the team I'm supporting, and they are doing me so proud. Harry Kane and the boys. What do you think? I think it's a balance. England is, I think, with that squad, from what we've seen so far, Tuchel tried to create a team, a squad, not just individual players, and I see the results, even from their play. England, you have someone like Saka on the bench, you have Rashford on the bench. Next time, you have the luxury of bringing a Saka, Rashford, Morgan Rogers on, and the rest of them. God, that was. What do you think?
So I think with England, first of all, I want to say, Chelsea fans in England, Man U fans in England, Liverpool fans in England, all of you like corners now, Abi. All of you like corners, you like set pieces now. It's sweet, Abi. Because when Arsenal do it, when Declan Rice does it for Arsenal, all of you are complaining. But now that Declan Rice is doing it for England, all of you love it, Abi.
No, England are playing ball.
Anywho, England are a very
Look at
good
me like
team.
that.
England are a very good team. Like I said, they are my favorites coming into this tournament. Tuchel has picked a very, very balanced team. He is focused on balance, and you can see it's working. Left wingers are left wingers, right wingers are right wingers, attacking midfielders are attacking midfielders. He's not playing
Take
attacking
them in
midfielder.
their position. Yeah.
Everybody is playing their position with different styles of play and different profiles. Jude Bellingham is an all-rounder. Iberichi can create something out of nothing. Rogers can shoot from anywhere. Different types of solutions to solve different types of problems. So if you're playing against a low block, you can bring on the likes of Morgan Rogers, who can take a shot from 30 yards and hit the ball. If you're playing against a low block, you can take off Harry Kane.
You still have Watkins there.
Ivan Toney who can head the ball and is good in the air. You have Watkins that can stretch the defense. He went for balance, and that worked perfectly for him. And also worked perfectly for the English national team. And their next game is going to be against Ghana. We'll see how it turns out. For our brothers.
Our Jollof neighbors.
Our Kweku brothers.
Our Jollof neighbors.
We'll see how it turns out for them.
So let's see whether they will also be joining Tunisia on their way home.
I hope not. I really hope not. I'm really, as much as we like to banter, I think between Nigeria and Ghana is just friendly. They are like our brothers, our little brothers.
Yeah, at least.
So I hope that
they are their own win. They are their own win.
Yeah, I hope that they go past the group stage. I don't. Obviously, they won't win, but I hope that they go past the group stage. They've done enough to deserve that.
No. I think they will qualify easily from that group. I think they will qualify easily because, well, Croatia is still there, but bad as a bad. Even if it's as third place.
Yeah, if they can squeeze a draw against Croatia, they'll be fine. Because Croatia are not necessarily Croatia in like 2018 when they got to the final. Because it's more or less...
the group has just started.
What's that?
The group has just started.
Yeah, well, but when you look at the performances that they had against England...
No, you need to put it into perspective. Croatia, historically, they don't start well. They don't start well.
Well, yeah, you have that.
But for the past 2 editions, they end well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the theme for Croatia. They don't start well, but they end well. They don't get good starting, but they get good finishing.
We'll see how it turns out with them.
Okay, so we've seen all the groups, the tactical analyses, and the vibes. The likes of Norway and the draws.
And the Cape Verdean came with vibes too. They came with vibes too. Have you seen videos?
Definitely.
And it's the most beautiful thing. And they have like really fine. Yes, so they go there with like
really fine.
They go there with like
really fine what?
And they light up the place with like
really fine what?
The Americans must be thinking they are in heaven right now because when those Cape Verdean bodies pull up, it's crazy. But yeah, they've been really fun.
They're making the World Cup fun for us.
Yes.
But one more thing, what have we learned so far? VR performance, referee performance. I think.
I mean,
average.
When you take away the I think the whole
noise. I think if you are not hearing noise from that angle, it means they are doing well.
I think the only little controversy you can point at the ones that we've been saying with Argentina, where in the first game should Messi have seen a red card? Maybe, we don't know. The next game, Lautaro maybe should have seen a red card, was ignored. But other than that, I think it's been quite okay. It's been decent.
And talking about the World Cup culture, we've spoken about this before, about whether we are trying to Americanize football or soccer, like some will call it. So one thing we've seen in this World Cup is the issue of adverts. Hydration breaks, water breaks, and it turns into an advert galore.
Yeah.
Is that an Americanization of it?
I mean, we spoke about this in the last episode. It's their own way of trying to divide football from 2 halves into 4 quarters. The way we have basketball 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And it's their way of Americanizing things and throwing in ads in there. We don't start the tournament. We don't start and we're in it. We're here already. So
do you think over time this will come to stay?
No. I think it's going to, if it tries, if Infantino tries in the next World Cup, it's going to face a little backlash. I think it's allowed here because it's the American culture. We're in the USA, and Infantino does not have the balls to step up to Trump. But when the next World Cup comes, Spain and Morocco hosting the next World Cup, I don't think we'll be saying that, because that is actually proper football nations.
Okay, so we've discussed the teams, the tactics, the vibes, the culture, like we always do on Beyond 90. Very soon, the group stages will be rounding up, and we'll go into the knockout stages, where the big boys will reveal themselves. The small teams will be swept aside, and the real football will begin. So, what do you think about the FIFA World Cup so far? The teams, who has been performing, who has disappointed you so much, and who are you looking forward to in seeing in the next round? This is Beyond 90. See you at the next episode.